Sharing the live stream. And I think it's ready to go. Countdown. And how do you pronounce your name so I say it right?
Laila.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Tommy Nichols, founder of the Charlotte Black Film Festival. We're in mid-session. This is day 4 of the festival, and we're super excited. If you guys watched any of the films, very exciting films that we've been screening, and we have filmmakers from all over the world that have submitted to this year's film festival. And so we're super excited that we have a filmmaker all the way from the UK that's here. And I believe it's midnight there in the UK right now. So we want to give her a hand just for staying up for this interview. So I'm going to be quiet and allow her to introduce herself and just say a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how long you've been producing film.
Well, hi everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. Um, I am actually, like you said, I was born in the UK, but I grew up in Italy most of my life, between Italy and California. So most of my work has been in Los Angeles, and I've been filmmaking at this point for 10 years. I've done a lot of AD um, and producing, and I started working on my own projects around 2015. I did my first short film, and then Vulnerability, which is the one that you have at the festival, was filmed in 2018 and completed in 2019. So I'm very proud of this project. It meant a lot for me, and I'm very pleased that you're screening it and that it's in a group of women um, directors. So that's very special as well.
It's awesome. Yes, you're in the category of Black women in film. And it's very interesting because when we look at our US submissions and then we have our foreign submissions, it's interesting the type of stories that they tell. And so tell us real quick, as a African, not African American, but as an African European female filmmaker, uh, what challenges have you faced being a woman of color and in film?
It's very interesting because having done most of my career in the United States, I feel like I was always inspired and motivated by African American women, by Latino women in the United States. So most of my film culture is briefly from the United States. Recently, I've been traveling more to Europe and especially to Italy, where I grew up for most of my life. And it's been very interesting to bring my experience uh, to Europe and to see what it's being done in Europe. And Europe is very different. So it's very different when you think of UK and you think of Italy, where you think of. So when I go to Italy, I realize that I'm bringing a baggage from my experience in the United States. So I think I have something to offer because um, for what regards the Italian film industry, diversity is still something that it's a work in progress in some way, shape, or form. So I think that I come to Europe as a woman, but also as a multicultural woman, as a Latino, African descent. So there's a lot of things that I think are of value to me, and I think to the culture that I came from that I would like to, bring more to or
Yeah,
give what I've received.
that's good. And so, does that have an impact on your filmmaking or your writing when you say Italy? You mentioned Italy, America, the Latino culture, the African culture. You have all of this. Do that influence the way you write or approach a film, or the stories that you tell? How does that influence those stories?
I, yes, I definitely think it affects the story that I choose to tell. And to clarify, my mother is from Dominican Republic, so just so you know, I have that in my, as well. And I'm very close to my Dominican culture. And I think that's why I was able, when I did the short film Vida de Ti, I was able to um, use my experience, my Caribbean experience for that short film. So definitely it influences my writing and my filmmaking. To me, it's always very important to have a cast that is multicultural um, and currently I am working actually on a documentary in Italy, so that's something new for me. But I definitely try to bring all my cultures and depending on the project, of course.
Good. And it's interesting because you combined two titles that said the same thing so that everybody could get it. You had the, um, is that French? What was the one title?
No me olvidaré de ti, it's in Spanish.
Spanish, the Spanish title, and then the English title side by side. So the, brought both of those cultures there. Tell us about this story. I will not forget. How did that story come about?
So, as you might recall, there was the hurricane in Puerto Rico, Maria, and I was in LA and I was listening to the news, and it was just touching that whole experience of the hurricane, what was happening in Puerto Rico, the relationship between the United States and Puerto Rico. I was also learning a lot about this relationship between these two territories and the Puerto Rican citizens. And so I was so touched. And one day I remember they were talking about Puerto Rican women or how many Puerto Ricans um, uh, enrolled in the U.S. Army and fight for this country. And while the hurricane was devastating and it was very hard to get resources there, so it just really got to me. And I just opened my laptop and I wrote a story. I wrote a story that I wanted to, one of the things that I learned is that I couldn't speak for Puerto Rico and I couldn't speak for the people that were living the experience. But as a Caribbean woman, was family in the Caribbean, I decided to write a story about a father and a daughter um, who were bound by the loss and use the Christmas spirit to heal. So it was kind of like it's a Christmas story, it's a family story connected to this Puerto Rican experience. I
Yeah,
hope that makes sense, but I don't want to give it away for those that are going to watch it.
yeah, yeah. And so when you talk about what the response to Puerto Rico, the lack of the response and support to Puerto Rico, remind me also the lack of support for New Orleans when the
Mm,
levees broke in
yeah,
New Orleans. And so it just really sometimes pulls the cover off of who we say we are as a country, but it pulls the cover off and shows the reality of our reality of who we are. And it's not as loving and kind and supportive as we might say we are. So good job. So what are you working on now? You have any projects that you're? I think you mentioned something. What are you working on now?
so currently, I have been writing some scripts during the pandemic. So it's been a great year for that because obviously I couldn't really be filming. Um, and those are projects that I've been writing three scripts and we're working on obviously steps two, which are fundings and all that story for potential features. But what I'm actually working physically on, it's a documentary. And going back to the concept of being multicultural, this documentary is about, it's called, or the potential title is Mothers and Daughters. And it's about the women, Latin American women that moved to Italy and had their daughters in Italy. And it's all about interviewing the mothers, how they integrated in the Italian culture, and the daughters and how they cope with their multiculturalism
Wow.
and just having like the opportunity of like I said before, in Italy there's a lot of diverse cultures but they tend to not be united as much, and I just want little girls in Italy who are multicultural, who are Latino, to look at this documentary and see these mothers and see these daughters and just be inspired because some of them are beautiful stories of people that have achieved a lot, who have really gave an addition to the Italian culture. And I think, again, that's so important when we think about being so fortunate to live in also in the United States where we have such a multicultural community to really see the positiveness about
Mm.
being um, so unique
Yeah, yeah,
and, in our diversity.
yeah. That's good. And so would that be in Spanish? Would it be?
This this is in Italian and Spanish, depending on how the subjects feel like talking. Some of them do it in Italian, some of them do it in Spanish,
Right.
and eventually we'll have subtitles for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting. As you were saying that, I probably would love to see a movie with multiple characters speaking in different languages. You know what I mean? Their role, that would be so fascinating, to have everybody tie in. but they're all in their own language, but they're telling the
Mhm.
same story. Isn't that interesting?
That's very
Subtitles would be
interesting.
there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It'd be
Yeah.
interesting. Well, now, so I guess you love Italy. I mean, you talk about this documentary is going to be done in Italy. So out of all the places you've lived, which place is closer to your heart?
I mean, closer to my heart, it has to be Italy because that's where I grew up, and that's my childhood
Ah,
love. So
yes,
no matter where I am, that will always be home number
interesting.
one.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, our childhood, where we grew up in our childhood, is probably where our fondest memories are as a child, and that's being as closest to us. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina now, but I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, and that's where all of the things I know as a kid, the music I remember as a kid, the dance moves as a kid, all my, as a kid was from Ohio, and so down in the Midwest, which is very, very interesting. If you could speak to Latino girls today who are looking to go into film, what message, and they're somewhat confused because here they are in America. Let's say they're from another Latin country, and their parents are still, they're Latin, their culture, they're strong. But here they are now in America. They're young, they're into the American culture, and so there's a little confusion probably in their voice. What would you say to encourage young Latino girls in order to to illuminate their voice?
Well, I actually think that what you just call confusion that might appear as confusion to them, it's actually the biggest resource, what makes them unique, what makes them special. So they should listen to that um, part of them as much as possible. Don't put it aside, don't send it away. Actually, listen to it, and it's going to guide you in any project that you would like to do because that's really what makes a difference when you tell a story is who you are, who your parents are from, the city that you live in. So that multicultural environment that they were raised in, and that confusion that it might have given him, I think in the long run it's going to be really what drives them and the best thing they might have
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they want
and
to.
and yeah, I have students. I teach technology and media, and I have students from Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, um, and so which is amazing. And they're really really awesome students in a media class, and so it's interesting to see their story, how they have been able to mingle into American society, hold on to their culture, but taking advantage of the opportunities that are here and combining both, right? That makes them so much better, I think, become the dual language and everything else. I mean, they have just great opportunities, and they're seizing the moment in those opportunities. And so for the young girls out here, so we want the young Latino girls to know that they have a voice. And here's a young lady who's making great strides in the movie industry, the film industry. To give three things, they want to be filmmakers. Give them three key points to be a great female. And you know what? Filmmaking is not gender based, right? So give them 3 points that make them a great filmmaker.
So one of the things I always recommend, keep a journal, write down your thoughts, whether it's just personal, whether it's a story you're thinking of, but really try to find every day an opportunity, even if it's 10 minutes to write down in your journal. I think that just builds up on your personal creativity. Um, Listen to other people that have done the job. That doesn't mean that you have to, everything that they tell you, it's a um, yes, but just listen. Don't be afraid to listen to people that have more experience and find mentors, um, and uh, and really embrace what they tell you and choose, pick and choose what you want to. But don't forget to listen because sometimes when we're younger, we think we know it all. Or we're like, oh well, what if that person knows? And I think I personally have done a lot. And my heart has been broken a lot as well. But a lot of people that you want to have as mentors, that you want to, maybe they're not who you think you are. But I feel like I've learned so much from every person that has
Yes.
guided me in my career, even the ones that rejected me. So I think that's very important. Listen to others, listen to yourself, keep your journal, and make sure that you're always true to yourself. I think that's what they always tell us, be true to yourself. Tell the stories that you choose to tell, especially at the beginning. Um, Try to do the things that you really feel passionate about because whatever project you make, you're gonna have to stand by it forever, hopefully. So it's important that you really, really believe in the story that you choose to make.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. And even when sometimes I meet foreigners, like they could be from India, um, a Latin country, whatever. It's like they modify their names so that Americans can get it. And I always say Americans are too lazy. Don't adjust your name for us. Force us to learn your name. You know what I mean? I tell my students that no, I'm going to keep practicing till I get it right. So I'm not going to be lazy. I want to know your name. I want to know who you are and your name. And so a lot of friends in technology from India, they come with American names, and that's not really their name. So I always say Americans got to quit being lazy, and they need to learn other people's names, no matter what form and how they come. So even it's your name. So I'm not going to mess it up. So pronounce your full name for me real quick.
It's Laila Petrone.
Patron. Okay, so it's like it sounds. Good, good. Well, we really, really appreciate you just taking the time. I know it's late there; it's past midnight there in Europe, and we just really appreciate your film. If you guys have not seen it there, I will not forget a great film, and it should have been in the international category, but I placed it in the Black women in film category. Could have went either way. Just a really good story. So you guys don't. Make sure you go to the website ioctv.net to take a look at it. Have you been watching any films?
Me, actually today I was at a small gathering to do an introspective on a female African American director who did a couple of movies in the 1980s. And I don't know if you know her, Miss Woods. She did Killing Time and I can't remember the name of the second short film. But if you check her out, I was so impressed because she was talking about how this is 40 years ago that she made the movies, how they were not appreciated at the time. And she's African American from the United States, but yes, she's a pioneer for us women. And now she's being rediscovered by European
Wow.
critics and filmmakers. And so it was interesting because she was really telling us how back then it was like she felt rejected totally, and now she's being appreciated. And so it was very inspiring because I was just there and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be doing my panel soon. And I was like, these are the people that paved our way.
Yes.
And we half of the time we don't even know them. So if anybody has a chance, I think on IMDb, one of the short films is called Killing Time, uh, and then you find the others as well. But I was really impressed, and it was like a perfect timing.
Oh,
So I
wow.
know that's not a current film, but
Right, right, right. Without a doubt. Good. And it's great to hear that that's happening in Europe. It's great that there is some activity happening. Tomorrow, I'm on a panel that talks about is the UK innocent? Black Lives Matter in the UK. And so that's the panel we're having tomorrow with the film that we have here. So just really hearing some of the things that's happening in the UK, and it's good to hear the positive things happening in Europe, that you're involved with as well. So hey, once again, I appreciate you taking your time, get some sleep. Probably had a long day, like you just mentioned, but we
mhm.
appreciate you here at the Charlotte Black Film Festival. Thanks for submitting your film. June the 26th is our Vision Awards. We will have it it's at 6 p.m., so it's a little early, 2 hours earlier, and we will have that streamed live and on Zoom, so you guys can, all the filmmakers can come in. Those who are not in person, we'll be able to see you, and you'll be able to see us. So, with that being said, have a great night. I appreciate you. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow.